So what about Korea isn't drawing you enough to want to stay here forever?
One thing I always thought about is at the end of the day, I'm always going to be an outsider.
Welcome to Too Many Thoughts and Too Many Problems podcast. I brought two special guests here today. I'm sure if you guys have been a fan of my videos, you know who they are. Yeah, you've seen them a couple of times. This is my great friend, the one and only, the Lion King, Gage.
Nice to be here, everybody. My first podcast.
And the great and fancy dancing K-pop star, soon to be K-pop star, one day, Johnny.
Yeah. Hello. He lied about all that. I lack singing and dancing talent.
Isn't that true?
So maybe
Have you seen his dance moves? Dude, you were killer on our orientation.
I was right.
Did
you
I dance?
you were part of the K-pop group, weren't you?
No, I was not.
No, you
were
were
you not?
No,
You were.
I
Oh, I
practiced.
You were.
I
Yeah,
practiced with you guys.
Yeah, you practiced this. I saw those videos, and he was like popping and bopping. I was like, dude, why aren't you?
No one else showed up to the training. I was not even in the group, and I showed up.
Yeah, he showed up.
Yeah. So.
And he was like, check me out. And then the trainer was like, damn, you should have joined this dance group. And Johnny was like,
Did they?
"Oh." Yeah.
I did not hear anything of that. It wasn't that hard.
Oh,
But we did
see, it was that hard. That's
We did
see, it wasn't that
a
hard.
basic dance.
Oh,
It wasn't
basic
hard
for
to
him.
learn.
Nah, like he
No,
said.
not for
That's
me.
why he's a K-pop
Future K-pop star.
Future K-pop star because it was
Oh,
basic for him.
Maybe
Yeah.
in another life, and maybe if
Was
I
it-
could sing.
Was it
or-
basic for you?
That was really hard for me.
Was it really hard?
for me? Because I'm not a K-pop.
I'm not even.
That was
Not
an
a
interesting
K-pop
show,
artist.
actually. That was
maybe
pretty
just-
interesting
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just natural rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, he's got the natural talent to be K-pop.
Nah,
artist.
maybe you got
No,
like
not the natural talent. I'm missing everything else.
maybe you can pick up like dance skills like really easily, like just choreography.
Yeah. You can
Maybe a
practice.
backup dancer.
You can learn how to sing. You can be like, in a group, and you can just be the support vocals.
Yeah.
The way back support. Like I practice singing
Or you
so
can be a
much
rapper.
just to not be. I could
You're
be
a
a
pretty
rapper.
good rapper. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie. He's got some bars.
I
He's
feel
got-
like
he's
I'd
got flow.
be destroyed online by
So-
like, who is this white kid pretending?
So
to
should
be
I
that?
give you a freestyle? You drop a freestyle for us?
Absolutely
I was
not.
gonna say that's a lot of pressure.
Absolutely not. As the first podcast, no thing.
So next time I'm gonna drop a beat, and you better be like a little bit ready. Like, What
You're not
rhymes
dropping
with-
the beat.
I got no music skill whatsoever.
yeah. Or you give him a word to rhyme with. Orange, go. No, I'm just kidding. What rhymes with orange? Nothing.
Nothing.
No. Which was the point? Yeah. All right.
Anyways.
But yeah, anyways, I am your guest or host. Oh my God, that's the
I'm
second
the
time I
guest.
messed that up. Actually, I'm the host, Will. We are all actually English teachers here. I've been teaching here for about 4 years. And
We've all been teaching here for
yeah,
about
we've
4
all
years.
been teaching here for 4 years
Yeah.
actually. We've met. We are all like day one friends. We all met in orientation in Korea. We met with Epic, right?
Yeah,
Or not, Corvia first
Corvia,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
had like a pre-orientation with Corvia, and then we met again in orientation with Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
which
good. It was a good time. That was a good week.
That was
Yeah.
a really good time actually.
I still feel bad because I don't remember him until we got to
Yeah, I know.
orientation.
I came down from the steps in the hotel with the Corvia people, and I got down, and I was just like, I said quick hi to you guys because I was with my other friend Matt at the
Yeah.
time, and we were trying to meet up with other people. And I was just like, hey, what are you guys doing here, kind of thing. Like, oh, nice to meet you guys. I was hope to see you later.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember a thing.
And Johnny's like, I'm too cool for you guys. For you, Gage.
Yeah, because
who
it was
are you?
It was you, Will, Joshua, and then the really, really short girl, who I don't remember who it was actually.
There was Ellie.
Maybe
Wait, no, not Ellie. There was absolutely not Ellie. Ellie, we met at.
we
the-
just met her like a month ago, didn't we?
No, not
Not
that Ellie.
Ellie. No, not
Oh,
Ellie.
okay.
No,
The Latina girl.
Yeah, Latina. But we met her during the actual like orientation speech
Yeah, that's
because
right.
that's also
I
where we
don't
met
remember
Tracy.
her that well. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
no, Tracy was with Corvia too.
Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah,
was
but
one
we
of the
met
first person I
Ellie
met.
and
Yeah.
Tracy were together.
Yeah, they were like friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we met them during the presentation.
Yeah. We met.
Who was the short girl?
Ellie was.
I don't remember.
Tracy's
It wasn't
friend.
Kim? No, it wasn't Kim.
Kim's not
It's-
that short.
There was, I don't know, there was a bunch of people that came and went.
Yeah.
You learn to
not get it.
say goodbye easy here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
not get overly attached, I guess. Yeah.
To most people.
Yeah, to most people. I was gonna say like I'm pretty attached to you
I'm
guys.
pretty attached to you guys too. Yeah. I would say you're
Like,
both.
I'm pretty attached to you
I would
guys.
say you're both definitely
Most
my two
people,
best
yeah.
friends here. So
Like how
It's like
dare you.
10% of the people you meet, teachers you meet at least.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, 10% that you don't get attached to, or 10% you get attached to.
You get attached to.
Yeah. 10.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, 10% of the people that you meet here, you get attached to.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty difficult. I feel like a lot of people. It's actually maybe one of the big reasons why people don't stay forever too. You know?
Yeah, you lose connections. It's harder to
you
stay
lose
here. Yeah.
connections, But yeah, how you guys been teaching here for 4 years? But we all have been teaching like separate areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you? I currently teach like in the Gyeonggi-do province. Where are you guys teaching?
I can start if you want. So my first year here, I ended up in a place called Imshil, which is in Jeollabuk-do, and it
was
absolutely terrible. It's countryside as hell. Only buses. There's no trains. Taxis are super expensive if you want to get around. Bus schedule to even the closest big city is not really good. And I worked at an English center, so not a school.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting attached to the students and seeing them every single day, you have a 2-day program. When they're done, they're gone for 6 months, and you don't see them again for 6 months. I loved my coworkers when I was there, and my co-teachers were absolutely fantastic. But overall, like I found myself traveling every single weekend, and so I'm like, I can't keep working here. So
You were like always in Daegu.
always
on
in
the
Daegu. Yeah,
weekends.
yeah. All my friends were out there.
Yeah.
Like everybody that I met at orientation for Epic and Corvia all seemed to be placed in either Daegu or like Gyeongbuk area. So it was just
Tell them
easy.
how long it took
easy.
you from Imshil to Daegu.
So I would get home from work probably at about 5:45. I have about a 6 o'clock bus, so I have like 15 minutes to get home, drop off my stuff, grab my travel stuff, get out, and then you got to take about a 40-minute bus to Jeonju, which is a little bit north of there, and then you have to wait for about an hour until the actual bus, and then it's about 7:30 ish, and it takes about 4 hours for a bus ride from Jeonju to Daegu.
Oh my god, that's
And
like
I did
wait,
that.
That's like 5 hours, yeah.
I did that every weekend.
Oh my god.
Wait, so you weren't in Gyeongbuk province to begin with, were you?
No, I
No.
wasn't. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was in Jeollabuk-do.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
said that. Jeollabuk-do.
Yeah, so I went ahead and reapplied to Epic because I'm just like I really like Korea, and I feel like it's kind of a waste to not be here for like just 1 year because
Yeah.
my sister did that, and I was just like, I don't know how you can do that. Like with how much fun you're having, kind of thing here.
Dude, especially when you had to travel 5 hours for most of your fun days.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, they never had anything going on around me. But because the closest like big city would be Gwangju and Daejeon, and there's nothing there. Nothing that like gets you there. Like for me, I had like Daegu doesn't have a lot, but it had people that I knew, so like that was what made up for it. So I reapplied, and I was trying to get like Daegu, Ulsan, Busan. I would have been fine with Gyeongsan, like where you were before. Anything like in that side of the country, and I basically got an email one day saying that like there's no spots of that open, but we have a spot in Gangnam if you want it.
How lucky is this guy, right? Like the spot that most Epic teachers want.
Yeah.
He didn't he even tried to get it.
No.
And they were like, "Hey, guess what? Here it is anyway."
I said in my interview, I don't need Seoul. Just give me like something over on the east side of the country.
It's
and
the
they
reverse
gave me
psychology,
Seoul.
guys. It's the reverse psychology.
I was actually thinking about declining though because like they gave you your school immediately. They basically said you're going to like this middle school in this area. Like, do you want it? And you have about like a half hour to answer because if you don't answer, then they're just going to go on to the next person. And so I went ahead and just accepted it in like that moment. And it's been a really good decision. My school's great. Meet a lot of people up here. I joined a soccer team, which I've been missing out on doing, and there's a lot of things to do, obviously, in Seoul compared to everything else.
And you're not traveling 5 hours.
I'm not
for-
traveling 5 hours anymore. The longest. I got subways now. I got KTX if I want. I got SRT. I got buses even that actually like come every 4 minutes instead of every 30 minutes. It's so much better, and I actually did find out that the reason I got it is because the teacher before me went back to South Africa in December, and he had basically said that he was going to come back. And he came back from South Africa after his vacation to do his camp and basically told my co-teacher, you know what? I'm not really feeling it anymore. I'm going to go home. And so basically that put them in such a tough position in the beginning of January, basically like less than 2 months when all the other teachers have been hired before. I was on a waiting list forever.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to my co-teacher, my application was just the first on the pile. And so, like, you want to talk about super
lady luck was on your side.
Yeah, pretty
that
much
day.
like playing craps and rolling 7 every single time, like that kind of thing. So, but it's been really good, and
You've hit the job.
3 years later, I'm still here, and probably going to be here for maybe 1 to 2 more. So, we'll see after that. But
Yeah, we'll see after that.
everybody changes.
Yeah,
that's my story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that MSHL paid off. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, you save a lot of money because there's not a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
No restaurants to go to. You don't have activities. Movies cost like $3.
Yeah.
Like or 3,000 won. Like,
Jeez.
It's what you know how you sent us that video of that Japanese teacher,
Yeah.
and he suffered for like the first
and then landed the
I
perfect
resonated with
position.
him. I resonated with
you
him.
suffered for the first year
Yeah.
essentially, and then you made it after.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still not as good as that Japanese teacher's like
Actual-
last
yeah,
teaching.
yeah.
His
That was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Well, not as bad, but also not as good. That guy had just an amazing.
Had a bad stroke of luck there.
Yeah, but he had to go through
Hell.
the works.
Did yeah.
He did.
So, anyway,
But all right, our
Go ahead.
future K-pop star,
backup dancer.
All right, backup, way back dancer,
main
Composer.
rapper.
main rapper,
Yeah.
Yeah.
main side rapper. So yeah, I got placed in. I've been in Gyeongsangbukdo the entire time, but I've moved a lot, primarily
that.
because like maybe school situations, but usually I just get bored with the area and I'm like, I can do better. I can do better without wanting to put the effort into actually reapplying for everything. Because how it works is if you're in a province, which you can't really experience now because you're in Seoul, so that's its
Yeah.
own thing. Same with Daegu and Busan, they're their own thing.
Big
Yeah.
cities. Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual, when you're on the province outside of it, you can move within the province pretty easy. And Gyeongsangbukdo, just landmass-wise, is the biggest
It's
province, so
huge,
it's
yeah.
a lot of cities in there. I started out in Mungyang, which is a city that most people don't know.
Yeah.
It's the second smallest shi in the country. People have heard of Mungyang Seje, which is the oldest road in Korea that's still going on. I guess, though, it's sort of made an up-and-coming with Kingdom, because Kingdom was filmed in Mungyang Seje, which is this little cultural village that they constructed primarily for the show.
Yeah.
Small town, 70,000 people, which doesn't sound small in American standards, but in Korean standards, that's
It's pretty
tiny.
small, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Imshil only had 10,000.
Yeah, but yours was not
Yeah.
a she.
No, it's not a she. No, it's a gun. That's how small it is.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
gun.
yeah.
It's under she. It's not even considered a city. It's a town.
Exactly. Was going to renew there, but they was so small, and it was because of the declining birth rates. The city sort of passed a mandate saying you need to downsize all the schools.
Oh,
And the school that I did, considered a smart school. People would travel from different cities and dorm there at my school because I taught at high school. They had to downsize. They went from 7 English teachers to 3, 1 for each grade.
Oh my God.
They lost both Japanese teachers. They went from 5 Korean teachers to 3 Korean teachers.
Yeah.
So it's just like all their language department just got moved out. But they were like, hey, choose anywhere. We'll help you go where you want to go. I had some friends in Gyeongju at the time, which is the old capital of Korea, like cultural hotspot in Korea.
Yeah.
Decided to go there.
It's a pretty good area. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a caveat to that. There's a caveat.
As a visitor for a day trip, it's a really good area.
As a visitor for a day
for a
trip.
day trip, I don't know if you want to
Actually,
live there.
yeah, it was-
I wouldn't
It's
want to
kind of
live
boring.
there.
Too many tourists.
Yeah.
It's hard to meet people there. The city's great,
Yeah.
but it was obviously a tourist destination.
Yeah.
It's a tourist destination for Koreans.
Exactly,
Yeah, but
100%.
almost none of my students have been to Yeongju. It seems like I'll ask or in
Really?
the past they have.
Well, they're in Seoul, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of far.
Yeah.
yeah, if it's not Jeju or Busan, they don't go.
Was there for a year, taught at a boys' middle school. Loved the teachers, loved the students. Hated teaching boys middle school. Absolutely just a headache.
yeah.
And then again, I felt like I was getting further away from my goal of why I was in Korea. So I decided to switch again.
You mean becoming a K-pop star?
No, close. Becoming at least somewhat capable in speaking Korean. Haven't made a lot of progress towards that.
I don't know.
So-
I don't know if any of us had.
Will here
Yeah.
formerly lived in Gyeongsan, and I had another friend, Omar. And then I was like, I visited a couple times, and I thought, this is a good area. Right next to Daegu, right
Yeah.
next to the city.
It's super nice.
College town, essentially. So a bunch of good food, bunch of different...
And you got to see Psy this year.
I did get to see
Yeah.
Psy this
Yeah,
year.
so- That was
Concerts
dope.
this year. Yeah, that
And
was pretty
Jesse,
cool. Yeah.
That's super dope.
So I was like, okay, I'll go to try to switch to that. I switch. Will ends up switching out accidentally. And so, but I got a really good area within the city, really good school. And then the first time I was like, you know what? This is a really good situation. I'm pretty much in a city without living in the city, the city being Daegu. And then I decided I'm not going to like risk it trying to reapply to Seoul and get like an elementary school.
Do it.
Notice I do not like teaching elementary. I've taught it for many years.
Dude,
and
elementary is
Oh.
amazing. To
No,
teach. I love teaching
So it
elementary.
depends on
No,
the person. It's
It's-
great. I feel ineffective at it, and I actually feel tired after teaching elementary, which
Yeah.
normally doesn't happen with me.
We can talk about like teaching.
Yeah.
later, but
Yeah.
I would say I
So-
got my own comments about that with the MSHIL kids there.
But so this year I renewed, and now I'm currently in Gyeongsang still. So
Are you planning to stay in Gyeongsang again next year?
yeah,
Yeah, you think so?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I plan on staying in Gangnam next year. so.
I plan to stay in Mungyang in extra year, and that went sideways.
but
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Nothing
I
you can
want to
do
say
about
I'm
that, yeah,
planning,
yeah.
but I don't want to say I am going to
Yeah.
be in.
Yeah.
Gyeongsang
That's where
next
Brian is now.
Yeah,
Mungyong.
Yeah.
yeah, he's
But
in
he-
the old.
He's definitely going to try to move to Seoul next year. He basically
Yeah.
lives here as it is.
He was basically doing what you did that first year. You just came to Seoul every weekend.
every single weekend.
Yeah.
But you save so much money in Mungyang that it's
Yeah.
it's a really cheap like bus ride.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like why not?
Same.
Yeah. And it's like, it's the same distance from Seoul to Daegu.
Yeah, no. So that's why I had such little experience with Daegu. That's why I'm like for the first year I never interacted with Gage because he was always in Daegu.
And he was never there.
I
Yeah.
would never have a reason to go to
Yeah.
Daegu because it's like, what if I can choose between the two,
Yeah.
especially as someone that's not from Korea, so I don't really know like so much of the inner workings of each city. I just think, yeah, Seoul obviously has more opportunities to have fun, so
Yeah.
I will go to Seoul every weekend.
Which is still true, technically.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
true.
it's still true. But
Yeah.
Daegu's still great, but
Yeah,
it's
Daegu
just
is-
like,
yeah.
especially when you're trying to find something to do, there's just a lot more
Yeah.
things that Seoul can offer.
Yeah, Seoul is never like not dead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even during COVID, it was never
Yeah,
dead.
it was never really that dead.
Yeah.
But and then that's when our first year was second year, I guess. You and I became more close.
Yeah.
But you were going to Seoul.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, yeah. Then just gradually over time, just three of us, I think, just started hanging out a little bit more. We
Yeah.
got a lot in common, though. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
we
that
did.
that really helps, though.
And then it's become a lot better since you moved to Gangnam. And
Yeah, I think since he's moved to Gyeongsan, you've moved to Hwaseong, and I've moved to Gangnam, I think all of our lives have just been a little bit better in general.
yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not like the area, but at the same time, like
Yeah.
how, you wanted to move towards the Seoul
Towards
area, and you got it. Yeah. So
definitely. Yeah, I was really hoping I would get Seoul.
I was hoping you'd
You
get Seoul
definitely
too.
would if you weren't like sort of screwed over on the whole application process.
Yeah. But it's all right.
Yeah.
It's close
Yeah.
enough for now.
I was
For now.
hoping you'd get there too, because I was telling him before, I'm just like, I want somebody here so I can hang out with somebody, because during COVID it was so difficult to try
Yeah.
to go out and meet people at the time.
Actually, I might have a person you can get in contact with.
Really?
Their school is high. I just met them right
Today?
before this. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I
Are they a Hagwon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her school's hiring, and it's part-time, but they make as much as we do.
Whoa.
They make more than we do,
Yeah, oh my
but
God.
they don't get housing included.
Oh, okay.
But
So-
like the work hours are, I think she said, from like 11 to 5
Yeah.
every day. But she doesn't teach.
Wow.
She does activities with the students.
That's so cool.
That is
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
a lot of
Alright.
like just time available.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, we'll figure that out after.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
you
that
might.
sounds good
yeah,
though.
'cause
Yeah.
She lives.
Just beware, like if you know somebody about a Hagwon, like take it. But if you don't know anything about it, then
That's
yeah,
absolutely,
don't do it,
absolutely. Yeah. So
That's like
We have some horror stories in our schools, but I can guarantee there's some more horror stories
In
in
a Hagwon?
in a Hagwon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's I think that's one of the things I'm debating about right now though. Like, do I want to reapply for Epic again, or do I want to apply for Hagwon, or do I just like want to go home? You know?
The thing that if I was to leave Seoul and go somewhere else, because I have wanted to live in Busan before.
Mhm.
I still do, but because it's like my favorite city, just to be the vibes like fit me as a person totally. The problem that makes me not want to apply for Epic again is just the super long process.
Yeah.
It's a 6-month process.
Yeah.
You gotta get, and they've changed things now in Epic to be able to, like, certain things are different than when we did it. So it'll probably not really be more confusing, but it will be maybe still a stressful process to try to read. And
It was stressful
There's no-
originally just to reapply.
yeah,
so it's
and
gonna
there's
be
no
even more
guarantee that
stressful.
you even get what you want.
Exactly.
So
Unless you're trying to land like Jeju though,
you can get Jeju-do, I think, if you ask for it. Yeah.
because not a lot of people want to live there.
great place to go and everything, but you're kind of like stuck there.
Yeah,
exactly.
If I ever lived there, which I wouldn't have a mind because it's like a mini Busan, but I would have to own a car, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some friends who
Yeah.
live there, and they had to get a car.
You have to.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like, if I go home next year, or maybe stay here another year, I don't know. But what?
I think
don't,
I think it's the kind of the point of the topic today, though, is
Right.
like all of that.
I don't know if I like would want to live here forever, in
Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah.
But I do know I want to be here for like another. I want to be here for another like 2 years, like a year or two.
Same, yeah.
But I just never see if I don't see myself living here forever at the moment. You know. Do you guys see yourself living here forever? No?
No.
Johnny? K-pop?
That's why you say. That's a tough one. Not really, but there's nuances to my answer.
But you are also a fourth Korean.
Yeah.
So you could live
I
here.
definitely
Like-
have a little bit different experience
Yeah,
than
yeah.
you guys in
Yeah.
terms of the ease of access of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oof.
just like even when I was renewing my visa, I don't know what you guys had to go through. I walked up there, I showed a
Hell.
paper, and they were like, "Okay, good."
The first,
I came in there 5 minutes before closing,
Yeah.
and then like
It was like,
it was
okay, you're
just
done.
done.
Yeah.
I had documents with me. They didn't look at any document. They
'cause
looked
it-
at my ID and then were like,
The
"Cool."
heck,
He's
man.
like, he has that Korean visa.
For
They're like,
real, yeah.
pass on.
First time I moved up here to Gangnam, I had it was in the middle of COVID. First of all, so the hours and the people were completely different. The people were more stressed out because of limited access to things that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I had to go back 4 times.
Oh my god.
They basically said like some things weren't written wrong, even though my school prepared it. They prepared the same thing every. Like the teacher before me also had to do the exact same thing
Yeah.
every year. It's just like I had to go back 4 times because there were things that were apparently forgotten. That even my school afterwards was like, we've never had to do that before.
Yeah.
So my experience with Korean immigration is not positive.
Dude, same here, man. I
every
hate Korean
every
immigration
year
so
I go
much.
back, I'm just like, please.
It's like the DMV.
don't make me. And it's on the other side of Seoul.
Yeah.
It takes like an hour to get there, and most of the time I'll have to do it during school now.
Yeah, during the weekdays.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
the hard part. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not an easy thing to do.
They close
So,
at 6 and we get out at like 4:30.
Yeah, I have to. Well, my school makes me take off time.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be able to have that, like, know that you get everything before the closing day and like
Mhm.
everything like that. So, but it's so stressful.
Yeah. But so okay, what were you saying? Would you want to live here?
There
What are your
again,
nuances?
nuances is like, I guess my future career,
Mm.
whatever I decide to do. Like, one of the avenues I've always been considering is like some sort of international marketing or like liaison for an American company working here.
So
Mm.
something not teaching.
Yeah, absolutely not teaching. I'm surprised I'm teaching at all right now. Not to say I don't enjoy it. I'm just surprised that.
You think you would have left by now?
No, not really. But it's more so, again, I just didn't ever imagine myself being a teacher to start with.
Yeah.
Not so much that I'm unhappy or unsatisfied with it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I imagine if I do that, I ideally probably live in two places and just switch.
What do you mean, like in America and Korea?
Yeah. Because I
Easily
imagine
a
I'd have to
liaison.
come. I'd be making probably business trips back and forth a lot. As a permanent home, or primary permanent home, that's a little less likely. But if it was like a split situation, then sure.
Mm.
But I mean, again, I guess it really depends on the career and whatnot.
But what about outside of your career? What would you want then?
Honestly, the more I travel, the more I realize I really like where I was born and raised.
America.
Like
well,
Seattle.
Not even
Seattle.
just America, Washington State.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I've been all I've been all around, and like California, I'm like, this is great to visit.
Yeah.
Missouri, this is
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah, what's like Missouri?
But I've been through, I want to say, I haven't been to like the far East Coast, but I've been to like, I want to say maybe 70% of the U.S.
Mhm.
So like far East Coast, you mean like New York area or like
the
Carolinas?
actual East Coast.
Okay.
So like Massachusetts, Boston, New York, Connecticut, all that stuff. I haven't.
So you've never been to New York?
I have not. But from what I hear, it's just a dirty soul. So why would I choose that over Seoul?
That's the thing, though, is that I thought the same thing before I went there because my sister lives in New York City now. She lives in Manhattan or Brooklyn, one of the two. Yeah. I should know, but and the entire time, I thought I was gonna hate it because I've seen shows, documentaries, things like that. Just what New York City looks like. I thought it was like, oh, this is gonna be like a really dirty place. It's actually pretty good. I enjoy it.
But is it better
Is it
than
a
Tokyo?
visiting-
It's not better than Tokyo.
better than
I'm gonna put that
Tokyo?
right there. There, I don't. In my personal opinion, there is no better city in the world than Tokyo. I'm putting that out there right now. I'm sorry if I
love
hurt
Tokyo.
anybody.
Tokyo was a very fun experience. But again, these are all like experiences of visiting a place and not so much living in the place.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I don't necessarily have a lot of the same restrictions you guys have living here.
Right.
So the idea of like a permanent home here isn't the worst thing in the world.
Mhm.
It's not on the top of my list though. Definitely like Washington. I would love to like.
Number one.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. How about you, Gage? You see yourself living here forever?
If it happens, I could see it happening just because of certain things like in my life transpiring that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have a choice, no. I do want to visit some other places first. Like I've been vocal to people that I wanted to live in Tokyo or even in Japan in general. Like even if it's like Sendai or like Fukuoka area, it doesn't matter. It's just like the ability to live like a place that I love absolutely being in Kongo and have the ability maybe to go to Tokyo by bullet train whenever I want to, kind of thing. That would be is very appealing to me. The main thing that stops me from wanting to live in Korea is actually through my teaching. I have grown to dislike the idea of raising a child here.
The education system.
Education system is brutal.
Whacked. Yeah. It's crazy.
So like I have a girlfriend. Me and my girlfriend.
He's basically married.
I'm
Ladies.
basically
I'm
married.
sorry.
Which
He
I
is
know.
The most sexy and handsome man
I know.
here
Bachelor.
tonight.
The lion is off the market.
Yeah, the lion is.
The lion
off
found
the
his
market. He
lioness.
is taken.
And he's not taking any more lionesses.
Yeah, unfortunately, wink.
Nah.
Wink.
Because I'm just number one bachelor out here. Yeah.
Drop into my DMs. I'll slide you his secret phone number. Don't worry.
So
He has a second phone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He doesn't.
So like, if we were to get to that point where we like get married, have a kid, or vice versa, to me it doesn't really matter. But whatever happens, happens. But I've been vocal with her that I don't like how like when you get to about kindergarten level here, moms will pay here thousands of like U.S. equivalent dollars to send their children to kindergartens because they're in Hagwons because they're the best available. And if you have a good kindergarten on your child's like school resume, it looks really good for when you're trying to go to other schools, because unlike where I come from in Ohio, you can pick the school that you want to go to. And well, mine is just like, oh, I live closest to this school, I'm just going to go there.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of the same from, I think, most parts.
I assumed, but I didn't want to like put it out there kind of thing, because things are different some other places.
Yeah, sports get around it a little bit. But
yeah.
They're not supposed to, but they do.
Yeah. So, and we're teachers. We want to like build the student up to be like as smart as they can be, do whatever they want kind of thing. But at the same time, I've told her that we're not in the mentality of trying to make our kid the greatest thing in the history of studying, because neither of us were like that when we were in school. And it's difficult to try to sit down and look at like my son or daughter, whatever, that I like, you need to sit down and study and like become like top of your class kind of thing, because we just don't have that mentality. And she said before that, oh, like I'm not going to be that kind of mom. But then we get put at a disadvantage because the other moms will do that. They will fork over thousands of dollars for their kindergarten. And then when they get to elementary school, the moms here will pay hundreds of dollars per month to send them to Science Academy, Math Academy, English Academy, like computer or band academy, orchestra, whatever, so that they can become the top of their class, because that's the expectations that are set here.
And I feel like even if someone says that they wouldn't follow those trends, it's like it's so hard to do that in Korea.
Because
the peer pressure here is crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna fall behind.
Yeah.
So
and they have the mom clubs, like circles, and they talk.
It's bad. Yeah.
Bad things about the other moms, and the peer pressure is wild here.
So
there's no way there's no way if you are having a child here and you want your child to succeed, for you to look at the other children and the other moms do all of that and not be like pressured to do the same thing.
Exactly.
With your kid.
Yeah. So we've talked about it. We go back and forth on what we want to do. I told her recently that kindergarten in America is free, and she liked the idea of that. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's been my Achilles heel so far about wanting to stay forever. Because also I think because people I hung out with the first year here, a lot of them aren't here anymore. I don't really talk to them. We had kind of falling out anyway. But then like I started hanging out with you guys a little bit more, and like, if there was a scenario where like you guys were to go, to like maybe take your life somewhere else and just continue your journey kind of thing, it'd be very difficult to stay even with my girlfriend, because like I feel like we haven't like gone anywhere because we haven't been able to, or like made like the strongest memories. But at the same time, like I feel like a connection with both of you, that if you were both to leave, it would be difficult for me to stay, especially. I feel like I'd be starting a different life again, like when I first moved to Korea. And 5 or 6 years into this, it would be super hard, because by that time we're all close to our.
By that time,
me and Will are going to be close to our 30s. I was going to say all of us, but
one of us is already in our 30s. He's already in his 30s.
Yeah, where?
Not the K-pop star.
Not me, obviously.
He's a young 19-year-old that's still trying to get into business.
Obviously not me.
That is another thing. Like, it's really hard. As people leave, it's also really hard to make new friends. Because a lot of the friends who are, I guess, around our age or who have our experience are going to be in their circles. And they're going to be like, leaning towards their circles. And then a lot of people who are coming in and who want to make friends, they're like young. And nothing against like younger people, but as we grow older and the
things we did in our first year, we don't do anymore.
There's a difference in gap in terms of like our experience and difference in terms of what we want to do in Korea.
Yeah.
And just like the things that we would bond on aren't the same anymore either. Because we're not having that first year like I'm struggling as an epic teacher anymore either.
I feel like there's also like we get more experienced in telling the signs of, oh, this person is just going to be here for a year.
Exactly.
Year and
like
2 are gone.
I don't want to waste my time.
And it's like, like you spend all this time and it's just, I mean, it's not bad to make friends, but if like to put all this effort in and then say goodbye, and then a lot of the time you just don't keep in contact, and it's just
it naturally happens.
And I'm not trying to point anyone out, but like a lot of times those people who only stay for like a year or 2 years, they come here with like a really they're on their fantasy trip. They're on like a high
vacation mindset.
Yeah, they're on a trip, a high trip.
100%.
Right? So their personality or whoever they are isn't really themselves, and so a lot of them have like toxic traits, like red flags and things that you just don't like. You don't want to deal with when you've been here for a long time. It's like I don't want to deal with like babysitting this child or babysitting this person, and then being like empathetic to his or her situation as a new person here. You know,
when in the end it's not going to matter because they're probably going to leave
exactly
anyway.
exactly, and it just becomes a huge waste of time.
Yeah,
you know, so it becomes hard, especially if you continue to stay here.
Yeah, and another thing to consider, especially because of that, is a lot of us become friends because of circumstance, not so much like commonality.
Right.
Like,
especially your first 2 years.
Yeah. Like most of the people that I'm friends with or that I became friends with, if I was back home and I met these people, like I'd be nice to them, but I would never be like, hey, let's go hang out.
Yeah.
There's like, there's been a handful of people that I've been like, man, we actually have a lot in common, and like we'd probably make really good friends. A lot of it, the thing in common is we are teachers.
Yeah,
and
it's our first year here,
and we're still like an alien in this community and everything, and for some amount of comfort or being able to talk about situations that we understand. But
and going on from that, it's been difficult for me personally, especially to make some Korean friends as well. Through like my girlfriend's friends, I basically meeting them, I found out that like some of them are they're their middle school friends, they're their high school friends, and they still hang out and text each other like every single day when that's just not really common in America. Because like I would say I was much closer to my college friends than I ever was with my middle school or high school friends, because we would live together and do things every single day kind of thing and see each other every night. And
I mean, I still have some of my high school and middle school friends on Facebook.
Absolutely.
On Facebook and in real life are two different things.
Yeah. So I got the whole like this was happening during COVID, like part of COVID, because I'm class of 2010.
Yeah.
So 2020 is when the reunion was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I get added to that and everything, and obviously that didn't happen. So they started this whole little trend. Hey, let's share our lives and what we've been up to in this last 10 years.
Nope.
I'm looking through this and I'm like, man, not to sound like callous or anything, I just don't care about most of their lives.
Exactly.
But the thing I do care about as I'm reading this, it's more like what has become of them. Not so much their journey itself. And I'm just like, oh, I remember this person. Let's see what they're doing now. Oh, okay. Twice divorced. That's unfortunate. That's sad. There's some people that I'm like, okay, fourth child, you got married out of high school.
Yeah.
And it's just like mind blowing. But for the most part, I'm looking through them. I'm like, none of these people sound interesting to me anymore. And like, it was another situation. I guess I was friends with them because we went to the same high school. Yeah. Not so much because we were like really in common.
Circumstance. Yeah.
Exactly.
And for me too, it's like some of these like cool kids, right? Like I wanted to be their friends because they were the cool kids. But then I'm looking
You're one
at
of
them
those
now,
people.
And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I was just like, dang, you have 4 kids, and you're one of those guys who I would not expect to have a kid. You know, like you probably shouldn't have a kid. At least when they were like in high school and stuff, you know. But
I got along with most people in my high school. There's one guy that I've always considered like, he's a bit of a jerk. Yeah. I didn't like openly dislike him, and I don't think he openly disliked me. Yeah. Probably not, and everything. He was kind of like one of those jock kids. Yeah. Again, I was friends with most jocks, but I did felt some amount of satisfaction when I'm like seeing what he's doing now. It's just like, it doesn't seem like
your life kind of sucks, but
I'm like, I just remember one encounter. I was like, man, that guy was kind of a jerk. And from what I hear from other people, he was kind of a jerk to everybody.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not like happy for his I don't know if he's in misfortune, but I'm happy that he didn't like amount to like such a super amazing lifestyle.
Like CEO level, like business success kind of thing. Yeah.
Considering he was kind of a jerk.
It's like everybody.
I think we both have people in our high school that we think they're probably the same way about them. They're just like, thank God you did not become somebody that I envy.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely high school is the peak of his life.
His life,
It's kind of sad to see some people like that, though.
Yeah. I mean, he has every opportunity to like change it around, but he was just how he was. He was just always never taking anything seriously, I guess.
I never understood that like the high school is like the best time of your life kind of thing. For me, I was the kind of person that went in and went out. I had a late in. I didn't have to go in till 8:30, and then I was out the door by 2:30, and I'm just like, take care. Like I don't know. I didn't talk to a lot of people and kept to myself a lot because also a lot of things that like I had in common, a lot of people didn't have really in common around me, so it was difficult to talk
Loving
about
Japan.
things.
Loving Japan.
Loving anime.
And
anime and
anime.
manga was not as socially
It's not,
acceptable as
yeah.
it is now.
It depends on where you were too.
In
And
my spot.
definitely New York
K-pop.
situation.
In Hilliard near Columbus, Ohio, it was not socially accepted in 2010 to 2013.
Yeah. If you lived like where he lived, or like
yeah.
I might have had a different.
LA,
There's a big
or
Asian
yeah,
community.
Yeah, the big Asian communities,
Yeah,
or like even the big Black communities. 'Cause
Oh,
they
yeah,
love
absolutely.
they
anime.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
they do.
yeah.
It's growing, especially there.
It would have been popping.
It would.
You would have been upcoming K-pop star, just like Johnny. But
Coming.
No,
As the oldest member
J-pop
here.
star for
Yeah.
myself. J-pop
J-pop
star.
star?
J-pop
Oh, yeah,
star.
J-pop
Yeah.
star.
J-Rock.
J-pop.
Oh,
J-Rock. Yeah, that would have been.
J-Rock.
Yeah, I need to learn how to do an instrument, but that would have been cool.
I'm closer to becoming a rock like star than a pop star, just to heads up.
What? Why do you say that?
Because at least I know how to play a guitar. Like, I don't know how to dance.
Yeah,
That's true.
cool.
Yeah.
Which is still, me being closer is like being like 0.001% on a 100% journey to becoming something, not like
Yeah, just-
1 to 5%.
Yeah.
It's still like impossible.
You're just pointing out the fact that you are that closer to being a
Yeah,
rock
it's like
star.
0.001 to 0.001. Wait, no, 0.0001 to 0.001.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
10 times more likely.
Technically speaking, yes, it is.
I know math.
But I mean, going back, so for you, it's circumstance. I guess for both of you, it's circumstances. Then
Yeah.
what about America or Korea? Would you say that makes it impossible for you to call it home or whatever? Like, what about Korea specifically for you guys says, I can't live here forever? Because
That is a-
America's a pretty big shit show right now.
It's up. It has its ups and downs. Yeah.
It's in a very turbulent
the,
time.
The hard part right now is basically so like I'm trying to get my girlfriend to visit my family, like and visit where I'm from, like to get to know a little bit more about me right now, and you just see the same stupid things I don't know if I can curse or not, but the same stupid
It's
things every single day. I'm not trying to get you demonetized.
No, just the dolphin noise from SpongeBob. Yeah?
Just use that now. Thank you for the sample.
You're welcome.
We have Gage voice as a
that.
sample. Yeah, clip it.
But the same stupid things every day, and the more I see it, I'm just like, I'm never going to be able to get her over there because I don't want her to ever feel like she's not going to be safe, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it's the same thing for her with her family. That's my family over there, and I do miss them every now and again. There are certain things that happen here that you just wish that they didn't have a 12 to 14 hour time difference. I don't know about for you guys, but for me, it's about 13 hours. So
From like, in general, from U.S. and Korea.
yeah. So it's just like some things that I go through that I want to be able to talk to. I got to wait like until maybe 10 o'clock at night, or I got to wake up early at like 8 a.m. if I want to talk to them, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
that stuff I do miss. But the thing I say for me that basically stops me from wanting to live in Korea forever is it might be just a little bit maybe like selfish things, but like I love to collect things, and I want like a little area that I can put those things in. I want maybe like an upstairs or something like that where I like having kids is like a really good thing because I can't wait to be a father one day. So just trying to be able to think about all of that.
Damn,
while
ladies,
trying
y'all's
to-
mess. Y'all's missed on this guy. He wants to be a father.
Wants to be a
Yeah,
dad.
he
Wants
wants to be
I
to
do.
raise
daddy?
a kid.
Damn,
I do.
daddy material.
2022?
He's daddy material.
I can't wait to be a father.
I want to be at least getting I'm 26 now, so I'm trying to get in my 30s before that happens. But
Yeah.
I am excited when the time comes when that happens. But I look, it's the same kind of thing that I said before. I
Yeah.
kind of look at how housing's set up here and just like trying, and if you want to live in like an area, like a nice area, then like the key money for deposit's really expensive, and your rent can be expensive, even if, because all of our rents are paid for, but at
Yeah.
the same time,
But like housing and storage in general, like
Yeah.
is expensive here.
Yeah.
They just don't have room for it.
No, and then trying to fit, like, you both have seen where I live. Trying to
Yeah.
fit two people inside that one tiny little like I guess studio, I guess you could call it, because it's not.
I mean, your place is pretty big.
Where you guys sleep sometimes, that is not a one room. That is just that's like a closet.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, it's easy to get an apartment for like affordable rates. It's difficult to get an apartment that like feels like an apartment
Yeah,
instead of just like
I feel like I'm in a dorm
room.
room sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the places that are available, if you're not like, I don't know, almost filthy rich here,
Yeah.
it's just they feel like you're back in the dorms,
Yeah.
back in the.
And
especially in Seoul.
yeah, especially
Like you can
in
go to a
Seoul,
different
yeah.
city and find some affordable rates and stuff like that for like decent places. But
then
again,
there's less to do.
less to
So-
do, and like, is your job there?
Yeah,
Because what are you gonna
exactly.
do with that?
Exactly.
And yeah, those places are like way far from the main parts of Seoul.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's one big thing for me is just like maybe the future that you're thinking of for like your maybe like future wife and then kids kind of thing when you get to that point in my life.
Yeah, and future you.
Future me, exactly. And where we are in our point, like, can we afford to be able to live like in a nice area with like a decent sized home where we're not squished because like my neighbors in Imshil, they had like a 2-room and they had 2 kids and it was super small. I was able to walk in it after they moved out. It was super small. And it's just one big thing for me is the living area. The other thing is I love my kids. I'd probably say about 95% of my students I absolutely love. I love seeing them every day. I love talking to them every day. I enjoy class in general and being a teacher. I don't know if it's something I want to do forever. And some of my like great guys that I play soccer with, a lot of them have been here for 15 to 20 years. Just like they came
Teachers?
back. Yeah, they're teachers.
But
Yeah,
aren't some of them professors too?
they're professors.
Which is-
Yeah, professors
That's
and professors and international school teachers, and they're actually a lot of them are in school trying to get their masters to be able to go to universities right now. But because like one of them, he came back here in 2002 during the World Cup, and he's been here pretty much I think ever since, and to get my mind wrapped around that for him specifically, what would draw you to like live here for that long? And he's got a really good job, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to be teaching forever. You know, international school has always intrigued me. That's something I would like to do maybe before I go back home. University, not really sure. The money is great and the time off is great, the benefits and everything like that. And then the students that you're speaking to are a lot older, so it can be probably maybe a little bit more enjoyable, if not a little bit more difficult while trying to get them for grades and things like that, because I think you might have more responsibility. But I think that's my other thing is just the job in general. Because if you work for Epic, you got your rent paid for and you can probably get a good area, but your salary does stop at a certain point. Mine personally stops like at the end of this year. I have to stay 2 more years at my school if I want to get just a $100 bonus. And for a different job, you might be able to start with making more money automatically and just go from there kind of thing, just naturally through the progression of the job. So I feel like I might hit a wall sometimes if I were to stay a teacher. But I absolutely love my job and I love my kids. So my students are great.
Yeah.
Well, how about for you, Johnny? How about I kind of twist it a little bit because Korea is really great. Like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that we as even Epic teachers, we're provided with a lot of stuff
Mhm.
Yeah,
that we
absolutely.
aren't provided with if we were back in the States.
Yeah.
So what about Korea isn't drawing you enough to want to stay here forever?
One thing I always thought about is at the end of the day, I'm always going to be an outsider in any sort of issue, social issue, political issue, anything. I'll always be seen as the lens of someone that's not affected by the issue, even if I am affected. But people, as well as me, will feel like it's not that important in my life, and so it's always feeling like a visitor, especially as an individual that went through university to study a lot of like politics and law and everything. I am very, I guess, passionate about those subjects and everything. And as Korea's a lot more conservative than my area, especially where I'm from in the
Same.
U.S. And like I want to promote ideas and everything, but I'm not allowed to. And even if I do, it's little
little effect.
value.
Yeah.
Like no one's going. Again, I don't face the same sort of experiences as a lot of, especially men in Korea. I don't go to the army and everything, so I can be vocal about like, oh, they should do this about mandatory service, but I'm an outsider's voice. Like,
Yeah.
why would anyone care?
Why would they listen to you?
Yeah, and so feeling, I guess, unimportant as a member of society here, that's one thing.
You do.
That's a primary thing.
I would say I felt like a visitor of mine. Other than being with my girlfriend's family, I felt like I've been a visitor here the entire time as well.
Yeah.
Despite being here for 4 years.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's with you guys not having a family visa or anything.
Yeah.
Like technically,
Technically,
like,
you're not a visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, I
you
have
are
roots
Korean.
to this
Yeah.
this country and everything.
Right.
But I know how I look,
Mhm.
and especially here, appearances are everything.
Mhm.
Right.
Any sort of homogenous country, especially if you look completely different than the people. Like if I was Japanese and Korean, it'd be a lot more passable,
Yeah.
and no one would say anything. But I don't look Asian whatsoever, and so
I would say that everyone listening here, Will has been called Korean more times than Johnny has.
Yeah. and
Absolutely.
Johnny's
Not
actually
even-
Korean.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not even Korean.
Yeah.
and I'm not saying for the most part, I've had like maybe 2 bad experiences of looking like a foreigner,
Xenophobic.
but most of the time, but most of the time it's been good experiences. For, like people want to like interact with me because again, I'm especially where I've lived a lot of time. I'm like the only person they've ever met that has been a foreigner,
Yeah.
and that's great and all and everything. But at the same time,
Always.
it'll
be
never
the
feel like home because
because of things
I'll-
like that.
I'll view myself and everyone will always view me as not from here. And it's not like America where it's a destination of like, it doesn't, the mantra or whatever
The
isn't
melting
like
pot.
where I can't strive for the Korean dream of traveling here and becoming a Korean.
Yeah.
Like that's how America's whole goal is
Yeah,
like
you can
moving
strive.
to America and becoming an American and like fitting in with that. That's not what Korea advertises itself as. So
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably the big thing. Like obviously there's stuff like school. I wouldn't want to raise a kid in the competitiveness of this, especially how I guess creative I think that schools should be and how I think schools should like foster the talents that children have or want to
The potential that they have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of like, here's a piece of paper with these standardized testings. If you fail this, guess what? You're screwed. Go work at a convenience store or something.
Or a factory job.
Exactly. And it's like, you're always going to have something that you're great in, even if you're bad at other things.
At like paper.
Yeah. And like, especially with tests.
Yeah.
I know some people, they're bad at tests. They're just brilliant people and
Yeah.
everything. And like subjecting them to determine their entire
Just
career.
Paper
Yeah.
test. Yeah.
And you know how like university works? You take the sunung, and most of kids choose their major based on what they're like
Strengths are.
what they said they should do. It's
Yeah.
like you tested well in this, you should do this, and so they choose their major on that. And I never want
I
like
don't want
to
be
encourage
forced.
my kid to be
Yeah.
like, well. Here's utopia. This is your skill set. So you just got to follow through with this brick road they laid out for you.
Yeah.
It does feel like that sometimes in Korea where like things are, they try to like put you on this kind of like robotic path.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And,
like,
like,
they
this
choose-
this is
efficiency,
you.
this
Yeah.
practicality, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to subject my children to that.
No, I agree. It's the same thing that goes back to mine. Like, I just did a lesson on failure with my students, and I asked them to like name a person or maybe somebody or yourself, somebody that you know, like talk about a situation that you know that they failed. And I'd say other than maybe like 2 or 3 of them, every group was just like, oh, this is like,
Test.
they all
Test.
used school, but
Yeah.
in the class. But then they'd be like, oh, this is like Wonho here. Oh, what happened? And he's like, oh, he got like minus, like he missed 5 questions on his exam, so he got like an 85, and so he failed.
Yeah, and it's
And
like
but that's their idea of failure, is that they
yeah.
miss like if they miss a couple, like one of them said I missed three marks
Yeah.
on my exam, so I failed, and my parents weren't happy with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that right there is just
Yeah.
highlights my point that I made earlier, that This is the first time I've done this with them, and it reinforces my thinking behind everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's very difficult for kids to. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why Korea is becoming like number one in terms of like mental depression.
Actually,
Yeah,
I saw
and
a
they don't
stat.
have a lot of like sources to help with that either.
No,
Exactly.
There
it's
is
such a
just
taboo
becoming a
topic.
thing.
Yeah.
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 I saw a stat somewhere on Instagram where they said like out of 45 like first world countries in happiness, South Korea was 42nd out of 45.
That's super
No,
low.
I'm not saying that this is like a reliable source or anything. It was on Instagram, but people were sharing it around, and I saw it. So
well,
I was
it's
just like,
probably
I was-
pulling. Again, it's Instagram. It's probably pulling a lot of young people, and I've
Yeah.
already,
yeah.
from all the people my age and younger, and even students, the thing that they voice the most concern for and is the education system.
yeah.
Because again, they feel parents and stuff like that, and I would say social media in general in the age of the internet changes our perspective on it, because now you're able to look at everyone else
Yeah.
and see how their lives are, and especially from other parts of the world, and see like different schooling systems, and they're like, why can they be happy in school and I can't?
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
now it like starts breaking that into you.
I was like talking to one of my Korean friends, and she was reading this thesis on why sports helps build friendship and bonds. And I was like, why is this is like a Korean thesis, right? I was like, why would you need to make a thesis? And that's kind of like obvious, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she's like, but it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Not in Korea.
Not in Korea. No.
Yeah.
For Koreans, it's just sports is just purely competition. It's
Yeah.
just purely competition. It doesn't even matter if they're on your same team or anything. Like, it's not for building friendship. It's not for bonds or anything.
Just an extracurricular activity that you sign
That
your
you need to
kid up for.
beat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That you need
beat
to
these
win.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just another thing in your life that you're supposed to excel at, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
I think, yeah, for me too, I think that's one of the reasons why I could never call Korea home.
Yeah.
Because even though, like, I think so for me, like, I'm learning enough Korean to sometimes pass as Korean.
Survival.
Because, yeah. And a lot of times these people will think that I am Korean because I was just speaking to them in Korean. And then
Yeah.
when, they say certain sentences I don't know, I'll respond like, oh, sorry, I don't know that. And they'll be like, oh, you're not Korean? I'm like, yeah, I'm not Korean. And they'll be like,
And
So
how many times have you done this? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but even then, I will still feel like, again, with like what Johnny was saying, I would never feel like I'm part of the community.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I'm known as a foreigner, you're treated as a foreigner here.
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
Which there again,
which
it could
is-
be a negative or a positive thing, but if it's the only thing, then
Yeah.
it's like I don't know if I can stick with that forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that's like bad thing on Koreans, because Americans do that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
When
Absolutely,
they see
yeah.
illegals or whatever, or immigrants, they're like, go back to where you came from. Obviously, Americans do
Yeah,
that
like
too. but-
my friend was Indian growing up, and he was told like, go back to your country, and he's like, I was born in America.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my country.
Yeah. But I think the biggest difference between like America and Korea is that like the general American culture, where we are trying to strive to be a country where we can accept others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like especially with the younger generations, we are trying to strive towards that society where it's not go back to your culture, where
Yeah.
we are fighting like mental health depression
Yeah.
in public, where we are like trying to be openly public with like gay rights and all of these political issues, gun issues, everything, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and as much as there's conflict about it,
Mhm.
like there's always this idea of you can make the change with
Mhm.
enough effort.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I do think I like that about America as well. It's like we have the freedom of the voice. We have our freedom in general.
Yeah,
We just
exactly.
have freedom, our freedom to express ourselves. And I do feel like when being in Korea, just even on a daily basis, I feel restricted to what I can do in public sometimes, Like sometimes I feel like I can't even like sing a song or sing a tune on the street or like on the bus or something.
If that's
Can't
on a
speak.
bus, yeah.
Yeah,
can't
like, can't
speak.
speak on the bus.
You just had a good volleyball session. No drinking on the subway back home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
just-
fine, but like you're not supposed to do those in the public transportation anyways.
Yeah,
But I'm just like other things like, not being able to wear the clothes I want, even as a guy, which is kind of weird. Like I feel like I can't wear tank top sleeves. And that's just the smallest form of like
yeah.
free expression.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you-
now that I
if-
think about it, whenever I do that, I like consciously think like I am going to stand out,
Right.
Mhm.
and
Right.
that's okay with me. But I in
I would
America, I've
never
never
think
thought
that.
of that.
Yeah,
I would
in
just like I'm
America.
throwing on a tank top. That's it.
Yeah.
When I throw on a tank top here, it's like people are going to notice this.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're not going to the gym, then you shouldn't be wearing a tank top. Kind of ideal here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I was in America, even especially in university, I would see like a bunch of guys. Oh, what was it? A bunch of guys like with like cut off sleeves to the point where they're showing like their like nips, right? And if you do that in public here in Korea, even for guys, it's like people are gonna be staring. Like they're gonna be like, "What the hell is he doing?"
Especially if you're like
Yeah.
leaving the gym in that
Exactly.
same attire. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of Koreans don't just leave the gym after
No.
they're done with their session.
Gotta take their pictures.
Yeah, I mean, no, they have to wash themselves. They take a shower and
Yeah,
they
they
change.
do. Yeah.
They change back into their like normal clothes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of, as great as Korea is, I do think that there are specific restrictions
Mhm.
that we didn't grow up as Americans
Yeah.
that are very hard for us to fully adjust to and accept.
Yeah. It holds us back a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's for us. I think I don't know if this is true, but for me, I feel like there are certain things about Korea that makes me feel like I'm going back in time in terms of like political or social
Mhm.
issues, and that's not where I want to be in term like in my society.
Yeah.
Forever,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
It's like I felt this a little bit before because I grew up in Seattle-ish area, and then moved after university to Kansas City, Missouri,
Mhm.
and just like culturally, it's a lot more conservative, and it's like not caught up to date. So it feels like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
And then come in here, it's like again taking a further step, and it's like, man, I've already seen how much progress can be made and everything. So it's weird to like resetting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think though with like the final 5 minutes, I think what I do want to express here though is that like while there are a lot of things that anger me about Korea, I absolutely love being here though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't be here for 4 and ongoing years if we didn't love Korea in general.
Yeah, like I've already said that like it's up in the air on how long they'll stay here.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't mind living here forever, but I don't. I mean, it won't change the fact that I don't know if I'll ever be able to feel like this is home
Yeah.
to me.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Right. I think it's not that we hate Korea or anything. It's just
No,
that
yeah.
it's just the feeling of not being home. It's
Yeah.
just not,
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't
Mhm.
feel home.
yeah, exactly.
If there was a certain point in like maybe in a couple of years or something like that like I have everything that like I have on my mind like a picture kind of thing, then like maybe I'll start feeling that way. But it's just at this current time,
Yeah.
beside if I'm not with my like girlfriend's family, I don't feel that way.
yeah,
So
and some of
Yeah.
us don't have a girlfriend's family.
I know.
Final remark, Johnny. Why are you wearing that? Because
I
you were
like
K-pop.
No, I just
You're
That's right,
auditioning.
no, I
auditioning
was
K-pop.
I forgot.
celebrating
We never addressed that at the beginning. Yeah, we completely
It's
skipped
because he was
I'm like-
auditioning for K-pop.
That's
and
right, he
That's
was,
the end
yeah.
of this podcast.
I'm overdressed because I always dress like this. No, I was in a rush to get back over here because I was celebrating the beautiful union of Alexis and TJ. 2 friends just got married, and I thought the wedding was at 2, not 5, and so I didn't have time to go change and come back here, and so
It is what. it
as much
is.
as I like dressing like this, it's very uncomfortable a lot of the times.
You look spiffy.
La-
you,
and ladies,
you fill it out pretty well.
He's single.
He is
This
single.
one is single.
This one is single.
Future K-pop.
Trying to learn
star.
Korean, so if there's any Korean speakers
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys hopping onto the podcast.
Hey,
for
anytime.
chatting about Too Many
Absolutely.
Problems.
Anytime you want.
Yeah, I enjoyed this conversation. It was a
I
lot of
did
fun.
too. I,
Hey.
I think I don't know how like other podcasts or just how maybe like your solo videos are, but I think I felt like very comfortable because I felt like I'm just talking to my friends here about like
Yeah.
just like we're just
Yeah.
having
Just with
drinks
this
or like a
obstruction
dinner.
in my face that I'm trying to figure out what I should do.
Yeah.
And the camera's right there, so I'm
I've
like,
been
should I
moving
turn?
like side to side because I'm like I want to see both of you at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
but then
yeah.
like I also want to like feel like I'm not just looking at like Johnny the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but if I go here, then like
I might want to sit on that seat next time because
We can
I
switch
feel
if
like
you
I'm turning my back to the camera the entire time just to
Yeah,
look at you
that's
guys.
true,
Alright,
yeah.
So for that, I'm gonna end the podcast here. Appreciate all you guys watching. Those who stuck until the end. Until next time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll
Thank you
drop you
very
guys
much.
social medias.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
absolutely. Yeah.
Socials.
You get to
Yeah.
see what Korean teaching life is
Yeah.
like because
If you guys want to follow them,
a lot of students.
Yeah, a lot of students.
Yeah, he's
will
a lot. His students
post
are
their stuff
his students
all the
are
time online.
his students on Instagram are pretty cool. Mine just post like black walls with lyrics of songs on it. I want them to do more. I really
Yeah.
do.
But until next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Take care.